Welcome back. It's five-star time. It's a different five-star time because we're going to go off a little bit. Not too much college. It's going to be a little different one, and the next one Chance is going to help me out with because it's one of his favorites. But first, have me thinking. Number one versus number two. There's a reason why I'm wearing this shirt. Obviously, the tie didn't come through, but it was a historic sports moment. The first time 1 versus 2 had ever happened since 2008. And not just that, it was a rivalry. You know, so that in itself is an iconic sports moment. The game may have not lived up to a number one, number two, but it was still a good game. But it had me thinking, what are the best 5 sports moments of my lifetime? So we'll start with number 5. Number 5, in the Olympics, Michael Phelps. What a run that was with Michael Phelps. I had me watching swimming for the first time in my life. Obviously, you know, things like Usain Bolt and the 4x1 race and the 100-meter race, which I watch every Olympics, are some of my favorite Olympic moments. But Phelps and the 4x1 relay with Jason Lezak down the stretch, that was one of the most incredible moments to come back and beat the French and Bernard as they had the huge lead, and Phelps is cheering them on down the stretch, and to come back and you could just see it. That still gives me chills thinking about that moment, and then the USA to come back and win that, and Phelps's chance at glory to have all the golds was still intact. That was my where were you to iconic moments number 5. Number 4, this to me right here is one of those things where we all had such a strong opinion about it and how great this team was, but when the Pats came back from 28-3 to the Falcons, the Atlanta has always fallen short, and when Julio and those guys had such a great year, Matt Ryan maybe one of the best statistical years of a quarterback, and to them be blowing out the Patriots, Brady on the sideline, you always remember him putting his head down. Who he's talking to, I don't know, but they came back and won that game. Still, to me, everybody, I think, had tuned away, and all of a sudden, you start getting these texts. They're coming back. They're coming back. Edelman makes a big play. Gronk makes. It's like, where were you when that comeback happened? I think everybody always refers back. You still see the shirts to the day of 28-3 and the final score. So that was number 4 on my list. Number 3, LeBron winning in Cleveland, down 3-1 to the Warriors, and then coming out with the Ultimate Warriors shirt after they win the championship. He wins 2 in Miami with his buddies. He goes back to Cleveland, and then they're facing the team with the best record ever in NBA history in the Golden State Warriors. LeBron, they're down 3-1. They win. They come back 4-3. To me, he wins it for his hometown, Cleveland's first sports championship. That it was such a special moment. If you're a LeBron fan or not, you had to, tune in and cheer for the guy to win one for Cleveland against a team like the Warriors who were stacked. They got even more stacked. They ended up getting Durant the next year, which to me, still, we went over that a couple weeks ago, how crazy that was. But LeBron winning in Cleveland, number 3. Number 2, the shot. The lasting image, holding the follow-through, Michael Jordan against the Utah Jazz. What most of us thought was the last shot of his career. They say that last 45 seconds when he steals it from Malone and makes the final shot, or lays it up, then steals it, then makes the final shot. It was one of the best minute in sports history. But everybody, I think, in the world was tuned in at that point. I mean, it was just to remember where you were when Michael Jordan played. I feel like I watched every game, but the last game I'll never forget. And still feels like it's yesterday seeing him make that run. And I didn't even need to see the Last Dance to see how that played out. And then number 1, everybody loves a comeback. To me, whether you fall off the rails because of a bad situation or hurt or all the above, people want to see people come back and succeed, and Tiger did that. And to me, as great as he was, which was great as Michael Jordan for the sport of golf, he fell off and had a lot of personal problems, a lot of issues with families, and all the things in between. But when Tiger came back and won the 2019 Masters, I've never been more glued into a golf tournament. And I'm not a big golf guy, but that was just such a special moment to me. His hug with his son, just all of it was just like, man, this guy had every chance to just go and be done. He'd already done so much, but to come back and win the Masters at his favorite course, I'll never forget that moment. Even though basketball was my favorite and Jordan's my favorite of all time, I think the Tiger moment was more overcoming and more where were you at that moment that he did it. He came back. He fought all against odds, the leg, everything that came between that. So that'd be number 1 on my top 5. All right, now we're going to do a funny top 5. This
I need to jump in on your. I can't believe you left 2 out just because you.
Okay. I will give an honorable mention. I did have an honorable mention here, which was the Red Sox down 3-0 to the Yankees.
Well,
I think everybody had the Red Sox dead in the water.
That was a good run. I remember I was watching that.
And everybody watched that, even if you're a baseball person. But when they came back and finally broke the curse of the Bambino, that was a pretty awesome moment. And that would be my honorable mention is the Red Sox coming back and beating the Yankees. So,
but no, I'm talking about
my other one.
No, not your honorable mention.
The best sports moment.
No, best sports moment.
Yeah. What change?
Some that you left off. The prayer of Jordan Hare. I know
kick
you
six.
watched it and the kick six. I know those were 2 that you.
Okay, so
watched
the kick six, the kick six probably has to be in there. So I'm not saying I wanted to forget the kick six, but I wanted to. But yeah, the kick six, everybody in the world was watching that,
yeah.
and so yes, I think the kick six. Prayer of Jordan Hare was just crazy, but the kick six with Bama undefeated going for a 3-peat, that to me, I also wanted to put the Cam back in there. I think everybody in the world was wanting to see Cam lose.
I would agree.
So there's 3 Auburn-Alabama moments. I think you could almost have – that's what we need to do next week. We'll do a top 5 next week of greatest Alabama-Auburn football moments.
We can name them right here.
We're almost naming them right here. Keep them to yourself. But, yes, those are 2 really good ones. So, all right, my next one, best fictional coaches. It had me thinking because of the hockey game, like the Miracle on Ice and all this kind of stuff of like, who are my favorite fictional coaches of all time? These are not so the Miracle on Ice couldn't count. Herman Boone was a real person. Remember the Titans, so it can't count. So this can't be. We Are Marshall's coach was Matthew McConaughey was based on a real guy. These are fictional, made-up coaches.
I actually think Coach Carter was based on a real guy too.
I think that's why I didn't have him on my list. So yes, so these are real coaches, not real. These are made-up coaches. Somebody made this person up, and somebody had to go play it on a script. These are not real people that you could get some sort of an idea of how they acted. This is a made-up person. So we'll start with number 5. It's got to be the League of Their Own Tom Hanks, Jimmy Dugan. There's no crying in baseball.
Cheater.
There's no crying in baseball. So that to me, Tom Hanks is an incredible actor. I mean, you can name 10 of my favorite movies I think he's played in, and not just my favorite, but my kids' favorites with Toy Story, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, but him in League of Our Own as a drunk softball coach is one of the most hilarious movies I've ever seen, but like he ends up turning into and getting off the sauce and becoming a really good coach. And to me, that was just unbelievable. It's not even more of the fact that he's a great coach, but it's just a great character in general. So he's my number 5. Number 4, it's got to be Danny O'Shea, Little Giants.
His brother was better, obviously.
Yeah. Most people would say, there's 2 of these on the list, and most people would say that actually the enemy coach was probably the better coach. But the way Danny O'Shea got this team of Little Giants together and got them, he had Junior Floyd, he had Icebox, and at one point had Spike, but the way he gathered these group of nobodies and beat a team that was handpicked by his brother and went on to beat them with the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Did he really, or was it John Madden and all the pro football players that were on the bus that broke down and the kids found, and then they coached them in one day?
A lot of it had to do, but Danny, the speech at halftime about beating his brother down Cherry Hill, that may be one of the greatest halftime speeches of all. You beat Kevin down
Cherry Hill.
So yes, Danny's got to be. That's why he's not number 1. He's number 4. But most would say Kevin O'Shea is probably the best coach of all time. Go baby, go! Was a great coach.
Yeah.
Number 3, Ted Lasso from Ted Lasso.
Incredible pick.
But again, to me, one of the greatest shows. Me and Chance loved watching that show. Ted was never took himself too seriously. Got the best out of his players. Be a fish. Yes. And there's so much of anybody can take into coaching players in sports. Ted is a perfect person to go. You don't have to know everything about it, but it's about getting players to believe they're bigger than themselves, and they're all one united in a team. And so I love that show. I love the way that Jason Sudeikis played Ted Lasso. So he's number 3 on my list. Number 2, and this is where it's getting pretty tough. It's got to be Gordon Bombay. Now, Chance has some beef with this pick.
No. I'll let you finish your first pick too.
Gordon Bombay, Mighty Ducks, took a team of nobodies, including Goldberg, Charlie, and all these guys, ended up taking them to the Goodwill Games and beating Iceland. But the way he took that team to beat the Hawks in his first year has to be written about in storybook movies because it was a 3-part movie. But Gordon got them to skate. He taught them to fly. He brought the flying.
They
taught them that they did not know how to skate.
They were already on the ice.
He taught them the flying V. He taught them, so much of what he had learned, and to come back and then, like I said, Gordon. It took him a while to get to that point, but when he got the team together, there was nobody better than Gordon Bombay.
And he hated kids. The judge had to make him do it.
A lot of good points. Yes, the judge did make him do it. And again, even with the hockey team, he started slicking his hair back and dating the Iceland chick. So Gordon had a bumpy road, but when Gordon was focused, he's number 2 on the list. All right, number 1, Eric Taylor, Friday Night Lights. I think this is a number 1. There's so much about Coach Taylor that I even in my coaching to this day, I take some of the stuff, even though he's a fictional character.
I don't even remember you watching the series as much as we did.
I didn't, but again, I went back and rewatched it at one point, and just so much of just like the way he overcame all the odds, everything against him, going to the poor school and coming back and beating them. But like the way Coach, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Like, but just the way he was with his players, almost like a father figure. But I just love the way that Coach Taylor always just made the best of every situation wherever he was. And there were a lot of people that always doubted him, and he overcame those, even with quarterbacks going down, drunk fullbacks, consulate parents, boosters, new people coming in. He always made the best of the situation, and to me, he could rally the troops more than anybody I've ever seen. So that's why Coach Taylor's number 1 on my list from Friday Night Lights. So Chance going to hop in here.
No, you're staying up here. Okay. So, I agree with the Coach Taylor thing. I think every coach that's ever coached and watched that show has said, yeah, I wanted to be like that, or I hope I had that kind of impact. I think that's always been something from that show. It's very relatable, very true.
Yeah.
My honorable mentions for this, I do not agree with Gordon Bombay. I think it was Coach Orion from Mighty Ducks 3. That's why Gordon Bombay left him with him.
Yeah.
This man chose coaching to leave his pro career after his wife and daughter got in the wreck. His wife died and his daughter was paralyzed.
Yeah.
So he gave up a pro career to be a coach and to make kids better and to help them make better decisions. Because I think he was a drunk driver and stuff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So Gordon Bombay, being the alcoholic he was like, I need to put these kids in better hands. I keep making poor decisions and the judge keeps doing things. So I think that was a good...
So you got Orion over Bombay.
I would say number 2 could be either or. And then one that was left off here, I don't think you actually watched it much, but One Tree Hill, Whitey Durham, basketball coach. He was in his 70s.
Oh yeah. I know Whitey. Yes.
And still coaching these kids and getting game plans together for them and leading them to championships. All the morals that he taught a bunch of the kids and stuff, and lessons he was able to teach them, especially with the villains in that show and stuff. I think he was an exceptional fictional coach for a bunch of kids to look up to.
Well, I will say too, when it becomes a non-fictional coaches, I think Herman Boone from Remember the Titans is one of my favorite.
Probably the best.
I think Coach Garrett Jake would probably say Al Pacino in what was it? Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday. I mean, I would say not him, but the best football movie.
Yeah.
And then I think some old school football fans would love from Varsity Blues.
Oh God, Bud Kilmer.
Bud Kilmer. That was my kind of coach.
Yeah. Get off. You're on. Get out of 5-star. Don't come back. All right. So yes, those are some awesome. It brings back a lot of good sports memories. But yes, I love. They don't make sports movies like they used to. They've got a couple lately, but yeah, growing up in the 90s, that's were some of the best sports movies, and we got some great series as well, like Friday Night Lights. So yeah,
maybe Chosen Ones Productions can start trying.
Try to bring back good sports movies for kids. So, but we hope you agree on some of ours. If you don't agree, shout us on the YouTube video. Tell us what we missed out on. All right, comment on the post here on Tide and Tigers.